Okay, Janice, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. It'll be just a minute. Go ahead.
Janice, so should everyone stay muted until one person wants to talk and then,
That's what I would do because then you don't get all the interference.
okay, and then can I control all the mute?
Yep, you can. If you go to that participant and you can shut off all the mics at once if you want.
Okay.
You'll see something that says.
Oh yeah, mute all.
Or unmute all. Or
Yeah,
you can do it individually by side each person's.
okay, I see it.
You're the co-host now, so you should be able to. And now you're on live on YouTube right now.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Fine. Who's going to talk first? You have me on there? I'm not sure if I'm muted or not.
Nope, you're talking, Ray. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to see everybody finally. I didn't think I was going to be able to get in here, but I really wanted to call a meeting so we can be updated on what's happening with the Park Rec department and start thinking about what we're going to work on this fall or what we can work on this fall. So maybe Beth can give us a little update first on what the financials look like and just sort of a summary thing, not all the details, and what the outlook looks like for the rest of 2020.
Hang on, Beth.
I unmuted myself. So I'm happy to report that we are 9,700 in the black for this past ski season, which is amazing how we had to end it. We created a very conservative budget next winter, and that's going to the select board, I believe, the next meeting. They have to vote on that.
Mhm.
I hate this feedback, colleagues. It's going to drive me nuts. Yeah, that's fine. Otherwise, Parks and Rec budget was good. We had some carry forwards because we didn't finish some projects that we had planned on. We did complete our swing set, which is a really exciting project that we did this spring. But other than that, I think we're going forward. Municipality was able to apply for a grant for COVID stuff. And so we've been cleaning supplies for the bathrooms, for the different parks. We've put out probably like 10 picnic tables for folks to sit in all the parks downtown. So that's just a brief update if anybody has any questions.
Holly, how are we going?
I have a quick question,
Go ahead, Jeff.
Beth. The question is, in what you're proposing budget-wise to the select board, is there any significant difference, changes? Are there any significant changes?
No, not really. We're planning on a typical ski season. Again, we don't know what the restrictions are going to be, but we think that the governor is proven that she's pro-recreation. So we're planning on a normal ski season. No numbers have really changed necessarily. I was just really conservative in the sense that it's going to be a different ski season this year.
Mm-hmm.
And would it be that you kind of proven that you're pretty agile, the team there, in terms of adjusting the way we ended the ski season? So you're kind of thinking about that in terms of what strings you can pull as we get closer?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna rethink. It's all about the timing of making snow, how many people we hire, all of that. So I'd like to say I think it's going to be a typical ski season on the mountain. I don't know what the lodge and food and beverage looks like. So
I
that's
was-
going to be a moving target.
I was thinking of preseason season tickets. That's what I like.
Well,
If I was a
have the
family,
feeling that our season pass holders are still going to buy passes because they can pull in, throw their gear on and up and not even think about the lodge and that kind of thing, make their 5 or 6 runs and then go home. I see our day struggling. And rentals and ski school. I know.
Okay.
Sarah has a question.
Sarah, hang on.
So I just want to say the $9,700 in the black for the end of a shortened ski season is amazing. So hats off to you, Beth and Holly and everybody at the Snow Bowl. Considering the weeks that you lost in terms of, day tickets and stuff, it's really phenomenal. So that's amazing. But I do agree that there's a lot of unknowns more about indoor activity and revenue implications than I think anything else. I mean, the fact, whether or not the governor is pro recreation doesn't matter. She's just going to be listening to her, her CDC director. And I think the fact that it's an outdoor activity helps in more than anything else. I know we haven't really talked much at Ski Patrol about it, but I'm sure it's going to be a huge consideration for us. And I'll just be really interested to see, what kind of pivoting is going to have to happen.
Yes.
Mhm.
We actually, Duncan and I were invited, I think it's this Thursday, to a Zoom meeting for patrollers and ski instructors about what it's going to look like through Mimic, and we're going to discuss all kinds of stuff. So I'll have more to report once we know that. So.
Okay.
Go
I
ahead,
will
Ray,
say
you're on. You're
if there ever was an argument for a lodge, it's
Ray,
now. Yeah. That's all.
Sarah, who just asked a question.
oh, hang on, Ray, hang on. I don't know where he is.
I'm here.
You should be able. Hang on. No,
Can you hear
you're
me?
not muted, Ray.
Okay, that means I can talk, right?
I don't, Ray, I don't see your phone number on here again. Check your phone and make sure your phone is still dialed in.
Oh, I
he's
didn't go-
talking and we can hear him.
Yeah,
So it's okay.
I'm okay.
I can hear him.
I'm sorry. My bad. My
Okay,
bad.
fine. All right.
Getting used to it.
So we don't take an awful lot of time here and everything. Beth and Holly, can you update us on what is happening with replacing Tom Beauregard?
Go ahead, Beth.
Okay, so Tom gave his resignation, and his last day was July 3rd.
Big shoes to fill, but
We have some big shoes now. Rochelle Gagny is now manager, interim, until we do a search, which we've put out nationally. And we've had a handful of folks
apply. I think we have it open until August 14th. And but right now, Michelle's doing a great job
organizing the crew and getting maintenance done where we need it. So
Okay. Do you have a ideal time as for deadline of when you want to replace him and get that replacement in?
yeah, we have the application open until August 14th. So after that, we'll do some interviews and make our final decisions.
Good. Good. All right. Anybody else have any other questions about that?
Just one, Beth, any changes in the job description or the responsibilities that person is going to have, or is it going to be pretty much what Tom was doing?
Well, pretty much what Tom was doing, but we are looking at kind of reorganizing that whole part of the department. Just tweaking a few minor things,
Mhm.
so.
Good. Good. All right. If I'm, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ray.
Okay. Just want to go on then to Lake Beach Swing Set. Congratulations on getting that done. And it looks beautiful, and I've seen kids swinging on there. It's, you know, a great addition to that park, or great improvement. Just for our benefit, what was the total cost of doing that?
I don't really have a good answer for you for that.
I
You're
don't
muted.
really have a good answer for you that for the staff time, and we did have to
Public Works Department.
use Public Works on their big machines and stuff. So I haven't calculated that, but the swing set itself, I believe, was $3,700,
Mhm.
and then we had to buy the wood chips,
Right.
which was another $1,200. So you know, the equipment and the wood chips, you know, is under 5,000, and then whatever time Parks crew and Public Works put into it.
Right. Good. Good. Thank you. Okay. Beth, when you and I were corresponding by email, and you said, you know, as far as things for the agenda, Shirttail Park update, what is happening with Shirttail Park? Anything?
So Audra has asked me to, you know, relook at Shirttail, some engineering done for the riverbank, and whether or not we want to change the way that park looks and is, you know, where the parking ends up. I know we discussed it last winter, and Asa came in, and Jeff Senders came in and gave us some ideas. So I've kind of reopened that, and I want Jeff Senders. He gave us 3 options last winter with what the riverbank was going to look like and where the parking was going to be located. So we're just going to open up that book and have him start doing getting us some estimates on what cost or budgeting to give that park a facelift.
Great. Okay. Anybody else have any questions about that? All right. Next thing I have on the agenda is the Tannery Park, let's call it update. Maybe Tom can give us.
Yes.
Well, let me give you, I can tell you what's
Sure.
going on over there now with the, because we've got the town has opened up the park. We've developed a pop-up Camden. Thank you, Beth. And it's basically, it's like an open air market. One of the businesses downtown, the denim store, she had to move out of her lease or move out of her place. And so she came to us and asked if there was a spot she could, you know, put up a trailer, basically like a food truck. And so Jeremy and the rest of us worked on coming up with a plan for the tannery spot. So there are last Friday, I think there were 2 businesses. It's kind of like been a chicken and egg. Do we get the vendors first, or do we get the people? And we've been working on the vendors first. And we're going to be doing more promotion this week. But we had 2 vendors last week, and the U.S. Census, Greg Dorr has been there with his U.S. Census stuff. We have 2 new businesses coming this week, this Friday, so we should have 4. And then I have a 5th one that's signed up that'll be here for next Friday. There's, yeah, so that's what's happening there. And that's supposed to go on.
Have you,
It's going to go on through, I think it was Columbus Day in October.
have you invited a food truck or any food to the?
Yeah, I'm going to work on that this week. See if we can get a food truck.
that would make a huge difference, I'm sure.
Right. Good.
I do have a lot to say about the tannery, so just don't cut me off before we get to the
Go
rest
ahead.
of it.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay. In knowing that there is an RFP Jeremy is working on for the tannery, I've been working on the beginnings of putting together a proposal to answer the RFP. That would be basically the tannery work group's proposal, or the tannery work group's findings in a proposal form, with more specificity in some areas than the tannery work report had. The type of things I'm currently trying to get together is for lack of a better word, kids pump track in the areas that are hard to do anything else with, such as the raised foundation. I'm going to be meeting with Andrew from Side Country Sports, as well as, I can't remember the guy's name, a guy who worked with Andrew in Thomaston to develop. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ray.
Was that John Enders?
Yeah, I think it is.
John Enders.
He worked, I believe that's the name.
Yeah.
And anyway, they're going to meet me, and if anybody else is interested, I can inform whoever when they decide to come over and look at the property and try to figure it out. This kind of got going because kids have been going over there. They first started with the dirt mound, with which they got chased off of for safety and erosion reasons, I guess. And then since then, they've been just putting dirt in different places and creating, a pump track of their own. So there's obviously a need for something like that. And in terms of the whole proposal idea, I mean, the grant was written for a park. We worked over 2 years and got it approved. And the idea that a recreational park, would not be proposed would be preposterous at this point. I mean, there's really big questions as to whether that EPA grant could be used for anything other than a park, because if you look at the grant, not only the application for it, but the actual award, it says it's for the farmer's market and a park. So anyway, as being both chair of the Friends of Tannery Park and being on the Tannery Work Group for 2 years with Ray and 12 others, I'm just going to make sure that one of the proposals that reaches the town is a park proposal. And I'm hoping to have enough time to go in detail with the Park and Rec Committee. So the Park and Rec Committee can be part of this. I'm hoping the Park and Rec Committee wants to be part of this. We're going to have at least 60 days from the time the RFP is issued, and it has not been issued yet, because there's still a lot of questions as to how much the pollution issues are going to still cost. While they came up with a plan, or not a plan, they came up with an assessment of the new issues on the riverbank, there has been no remediation budget or ideas even how to fix that. So in my opinion, they need to figure that out before they even go to an RFP, because they have no idea how much money is left to fix to deal with the remediation issues. And one other feature, I'm talking to some pickleball people who are very interested in maybe being 1 or 2 pickleball courts on the site. So that's what I'm working on. We're just waiting for Jeremy's next step as to whether he's actually going to issue the RFP, or whether it's going to be a long wait for the EPA and the town to figure out what actually still needs to be done.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Okay. And Jeff, we'll get to you in a few minutes about what's going on with pathways. But first,
Right. Right.
yes, Sarah, go ahead.
Before we leave the tannery issue, Tom, I really appreciate that you're carrying that work forward and, sort of being the voice of the work group that wants to have a park there. I still think it's best use too. Pump track makes all kinds of sense. Pickleball, are still thinking at all about a pavilion as part of the infrastructure for a park?
Yeah, but that's a bigger budget item, and the big questions are going to be anything we propose is what the budget is. So I'm personally open to that idea for sure, but it's just going to take some, somebody else to work on that. Let's put it that way, because I'm trying to work on things that I know are affordable at this point. We'll certainly. I'm all up for mentioning the possibility of a skating rink and a pavilion within a proposal for sure. I mean, I think it's a great idea going forward. I just don't want to make a proposal sound like it's maybe not doable or not be able to answer the questions as to how it might be funded. I know there's support groups for a pump track, and I know there's support groups in terms of funding for a pickleball court. So that's why I'm concentrating on those two, and of course the playground, which we've talked about in the past. And on that, I'm waiting to see what the middle school is doing on a playground, because to me that's not clear what they're going to have over there.
Yeah.
So, but yes,
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
definitely still interested in the pavilion idea and welcome anybody that wants to work on that and help put that in a proposal.
Yeah, and we could talk more about it. I do think that the Rotary clubs in the area might be interested, because it would be a great joint project for them. They can do fundraising, they can do grants. So that's the thought that I have.
Great. Yep. Well, keep in touch on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Beth, on the access road at the Snow Bowl, is that going to be paved this year? Did you hear me?
So we put out an RFP, and the select board, we had two contractors put in a bid, and the select board voted on going with JBI. They're the folks that are doing the middle school. We were very specific in when we could do the culvert and the access road. So they are to be, as soon as camp ends, they have 2 weeks to get it done. So, and we also were able to kind of bulk the project with the Public Works, all of the town paving projects. So we were going to get a better price. And when they were, when they were digging up all the asphalt in town, we were able to get a lot of that, which is what we're going to use to reclaim. So it will save us some money that way.
Good. Good. When did you say that it would probably be done?
Let me look at the calendar here. They have specific 2 weeks that they can do it. It is as of August 22nd through Labor Day.
Okay, great. Good. And I see that there's one of the tennis courts operational. One of the two tennis courts is operational right now. No net on the other one. Is that? Was there any plans to put the second net up?
Yeah. So somehow the crank on the pole out of the ground, something with the crank broke, and we're trying to figure out how to weld it and fix it. We may not be able to, so we've got to look into replacing that.
Okay. All right. I don't know what other people's schedule is. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and update us a little bit on pathways, if there's anything to report?
Pathways hasn't met in ages, as long as Parks and Rec hasn't met, but there's a small group that I just thought I'd let you know Well, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't relate to you guys.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
It
Okay.
relates to how striping is going on around the town. So, but that's not related to you guys.
Okay, fine. Another thing, Beth and Holly, on signage, are we going to make any progress on that this year?
So we have got 8 signs have been created and produced, and we are working on figuring out exactly how the apparatus to hang them. And I'll share with you guys my screen to show you if you can see this. That's what the
Beautiful.
final design is. And so we've got, I wrote it down, Barrett's Cove, the Village Green, Curtis Island, Hodson Park, Knowlton Street Walkway, Seabright Walkway, Shirttail Point, and the Tannery. Signs are all done and ready to be installed.
I just want to say wonderful.
Great.
Really. This is something we've worked on for a while, and it looks great, and it's going to look beautiful when we have those up on a lot of the different properties.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to have them all consistent and you know, we've got the ability that if we want to add a little, if we want to put more information, we could add a little square thing with you know, that little square sign underneath it, kind of hanging with you know, some O-rings or something if we needed to add to it. So
Right.
Hopefully it lasts for a while.
Our lifetime. Brian,
There, I unmuted myself, I think. So are the, you know, there's this, right now, some of the parks have a series of other small signs that, you know, the no smoking policy or what have you. Are those likely to all get sort of integrated on the same post? Is that what you're alluding to? So that there's a single place that has sort of all the information?
In terms of what I'm thinking, what I was thinking for additional signage is if we needed to change hours or add, you know, dogs allowed you know, 6 to 6 or whatever, 8 to 8, whatever it is, that during that season, we could add that. In terms of the no smoking and those kinds of things, we hadn't even discussed changing or moving or doing anything with those. So
Okay,
I
yeah.
would need to go survey the various spots and see what's there and what needs to be rearranged or changed.
Well, would it be helpful, since each of us sort of have adopted some different parks, to just take a picture of what signage is there and just send it to you, save you from all around? Or maybe you'd enjoy that. That's fine too. Just wondering how we can help.
Well, that'd be fine. I went around and took pictures of all the park signs themselves, so I don't need that. But if you guys want to take some photos of the various parks and give me a wide picture as well as a zoom picture, so I can see where they actually are, and we can talk about maybe putting the signs in one sort of an area together so that it's all there. But there may be some signs that need to be spaced out for whatever their message is.
Sure.
Good.
Okay, thanks. Well, I can
Session.
for my parks that are near me that I'm looking at regularly anyway.
Okay, good. See, Brian still has snow behind him.
It's been an incredible snow year at the Snow Bowl this year.
Okay. Another thing, Beth and Holly, last year or this past year was approved for reservation fees. I'm assuming that we received no reservation fees for anything at the Snow Bowl. And I know that softball has decided not to play their games there this year. Anything else you want to add to that?
We did get one group that paid the reservation fee. That was lacrosse, and they were able to get in quite a few little, this late spring when they allowed the no more than 10 or more. So there were some clinics for both boys and girls from, I think, 5th grade to 8th grade, and a little bit of high school going on there. And those two groups still in the field, and because normally they wouldn't have been able to use the field with softball there. So, and they didn't balk at the reservation fee at all. So,
Yeah, I think there was some other issues with them deciding not to play there and play elsewhere this year. So,
well, what we heard is that they met as a group, and because of COVID and the schools not playing any spring sports, they had access to many more fields than they normally do. And so they could get all these other fields for free, and they just decided that they didn't need the Snow Bowl this year, even though they love playing at the Snow Bowl because at a school facility and they can get away, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I bring that up because I believe there was one member of the select board who may want to revisit the idea of reservation fees because softball wasn't there this year. I'm just bringing that up for next year to realize that.
I would add that in regards to contemplating changing it, the committee worked so long trying to figure that out and discussing with the current groups that were, using the fields the most, that I think we came up with a pretty sound idea. And, my feeling when the softball team, decided that they didn't let us know, that we found out from the news. But when they decided to do that, I think given a little bit of time, this might open up for some other teams or some other active groups to say, oh, I didn't realize that we could, go there now, because softball was always there. It just was sort of, we always wrote it off. So I think I would hope that the committee could, recommend that the select board give it a little bit of time, that as much as it was, as much as we love to have softball there, that it's not like we had lots of crowds of community members coming in and watching as kind of like a spectator sport. So I would love to have them back, but again, this might open up an opportunity for someone new to come in, like lacrosse or any number of things that people might come up with to do now that they know that it's available.
Yeah. No, and it's good to know that it wasn't the small fee that is the reason they moved to other venues. Are there any plans? It's kind of late this year, but are there any plans to do any work on that softball field area?
After I found out that they weren't going to be playing, I decided to not spend the $2,500 in doing the diamond. Actually, back, or if someone else wants it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and I want to also remind everyone that we had a meeting in their presidents, and they didn't balk at the fee. I think it was the timing of COVID and the opening up of other venues that was the reason why they didn't come here.
Okay, fine.
Beth, is there anything that the committee can do to help with that potential pushback from the select board?
I just think if it comes up at the select board, I think we should just say that we want to continue to give it a try. I mean, we worked hard on this. It's not like softball ended. They found other venues. Next year, they're not going to probably have it and maybe back. So they'll just have to budget it. And it comes down to like $2 a player. So.
Yeah, would it make sense, sorry, Sarah, would it make sense to ask them to just maybe write a letter about their intent for the next year or something like that. You know, again, if I were them and I had the choice, I think I would have gone to the high school fields because, you know, they've got a full-time department maintaining just those fields. My guess is they're in every bit as good shape, maybe better than our own, but they're not going to be in that same boat next year. And if we had that letter that we could circulate in advance saying, these folks are fine with it. They expect to be back and you know, they don't have an issue with the fees, moving on. You know, nip the bud.
Yeah, I don't think, if I'm still on, I don't think that, that we need to do that until it gets into budget discussions in the springtime. Beth?
Yeah. I mean, I have an email from president, softball president, and he basically said we'll be revisiting this next year.
Great.
So, I mean.
Okay. All right.
I had a quick question. Am I right that there's no using of the snowballs lodge or anything now for the time being, or has that been made available again for events?
We don't really have anything scheduled just because the governor is under 50, but we have summer camp here. They're here Monday through Friday. They're here till the end of August.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for now, the lodge isn't being rented.
We could rent it. We just don't have anyone that's inquiring about it.
Okay.
We have scheduled an outdoor concert
Oh,
on August 16th, and we're going to sell 45 tickets and social distance them on the mountain. And the band will be allowed in the lodge and using the facilities. We'll get some porta potties outside, and Mark Sender's going to bring his food trucker, you know, just to get some people out that want to get out.
That's great. I think it was probably earlier in the pandemic that I looked at the site and nothing was going to be available because there were no gatherings. But will there be chairlift rides in October, or do you know yet?
I don't know. We're going to talk about it. I think we could safely do the rides. I just don't know about pancake breakfast.
Right.
Sarah, to address your question about whether the lodge was open, while summer camp is here, we do have a posted sign on the door that says that the lodge is not open to the public during the day,
Right.
because of all the kids that are here, and they don't go anywhere except to the pond or the field. So yeah, so the lodge is essentially closed to the public right now.
Yeah.
We have had a couple of rentals on the back deck, where they've paid a little bit of money to come and use the back deck and have access to the restrooms on the weekend. But other than that, all of our weddings and things have been canceled. But we've got people signing up for next year.
Good.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any questions or anything else they want to bring up? No? Okay. Well,
hey, one more thing, Ray. Let me add. I think Beth said earlier that we've been working on signage and a lot of COVID-related signage downtown, and adding the picnic benches and things like that. And while there is still some funding available to the town for COVID types of activities, we are looking at more things to do. More picnic tables because they've been so popular. If anyone has any other ideas of things, one thing I'll tell you that I'm working on is developing a map, sort of like these maps that Chamber gives out, developing a map that is specific for town public places, parks to go to, the beaches, trails to walk on, all over, the town, and maybe include some of the land trust trails, anything that people could do outside that basically is safer to do and it's just an activity to do, while you can't have some of the things that are going, you don't have concerts and you don't have plays and things like that. But if anyone else has any other ideas, we would love to hear them either here at Parks and Rec or at the town office. Because there is, we're racking our brains trying to come up with some ideas of things that, will be helpful, either, along the lines of being safe and healthy and, continuing to do what I think this community has been doing really well, since March 15th.
Good.
You just reminded me, is the Frisbee golf open or no? No.
No.
Will it be open after the camp ends?
Jeff never reached out.
Out this spring, and I kind of was looking around for him a little bit this spring to see.
Okay, so that's,
because we probably could have done okay with. Yeah, he hasn't come with any interest this year. So,
yeah.
Holly, did you want to say anything about Winter Festival?
Yeah, I should say, Winter Festival's canceled. I haven't made a big to-do about it. I've mentioned it on Facebook and things. And after talking with all the schooner captains, there are a couple of schooners that are sailing, but the bulk of them are not, as most everyone knows. So we're not having the traditional festival. I'm not making a big to-do about it because Labor Day weekend, maybe there's something that we can do, whether it's shut down the public landing and have a dance, or I don't know, put a bunch of picnic tables down there and have, something, a potluck, I don't know, but something that we might be able to do downtown at the harbor Labor Day weekend. But right now it's not looking so great, just because even having this concert out here with the right track on August 16th, we're limited to 50 people. And I requested from the state, given our ability to kind of really spread people out, to increase that to 100 and have sort of 2 pods of 50. The woman I talked to that knows the Snow Bowl really well, at the Department of Economic Development, said no, it was turned down. So we're still kind of stuck, but that might change, September 1st. So we'll kind of leave it open for Labor Day.
Okay. Good. Anybody else have anything they want to bring up or comment on?
Yeah, just quickly, Holly, I love the idea of, promoting the great recreational opportunities. Do we still have a supply of the Camden Parks maps that are available that we've been handing out at the public landing, from the, and at the town office and so forth?
Is that the folded map that's got the various locations,
Yes.
including like Beach Hill? It's not just Camden specific. No, and I was down at the town office this morning and checked, and Janice has had a supply of multiple cases down there, and they're all gone. There's a little stack of maybe 20 on a shelf. So it's perfect timing to do a new map. Of course, this one would be focused on Camden, places in Camden, whereas that one has got Rockport and I think even some Lincolnville spots. So at least we won't be overlapping, very much at all.
I wonder whether that seems like it's been quite popular, and it's kind of road ready, and I don't know how long. I remember when Ed Libby kind of drove that process, and I think it was before your time involved in Parks and Rec, Holly. I feel like it was a couple of years to get that whole thing together, and I just wonder whether it might make sense, like Beth saved some money on not doing the fields. I think we got somebody else to help kick in something towards that. My recollection is it was around $7,500 to get 10,000 of them or something, some big quantity. whether you might want to just consider that as a possibility to buy some time to get something that could be deployed rapidly, and then look towards, hey, it's going to take us 12 or 18 months to redevelop something that is a newer iteration. But maybe that's not the case, just an
Yeah,
idea.
I think reprinting that map is a fine idea. Are you holding up your phone because you like an app on a map for a map? Yes, I
Well,
would too.
I was thinking, it might, maybe a reprint is a great idea, but maybe also just having a searchable Camden Park app or something.
Right, so I contacted this Discovery Map company, and it does, if you go to their website, they do have an app that you can get these maps up on. And there's one for Camden, there's one for Rockland, but they're business and sponsored. So there's all sponsors around them and things. And our map would not have any businesses, sponsorships on it per se. There is this is the avenue that I want to go. It's ready. It's kind of, they have to develop it for us, but it's well known. It's got an app. It's got things already with it. And we can get it, I think, I'm hoping fairly quickly. But yeah, doing it electronically is absolutely the way to go. And if we want to do a print, if we want to do a reprint of that other one, we can certainly look at that as well. Because again, that's just promoting more places and things for people to do that don't involve being, right next to a whole bunch of people all the time.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, COVID has, I think, driven a lot of people outdoors for some recreational opportunities. If I've driven by the entrance to the Maiden Cliff area on the weekends, and you can't find a parking space anywhere near there. That's how many people are using that facility.
Yeah, it's the right time to do this kind of stuff
Right.
at Parks and Rec. So, yeah, we're going to take advantage of it as much as we can.
Right. And what you're saying is you have some COVID funding that's available for doing a map. Is that correct?
Right. That won't impact the Parks and Rec budget, which, has lost money from rentals and other things.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to add anything, or are we all finished? Good.
Next meeting?
Once I got in, it was okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Wait, Ray, what do you want to do at next meeting?
You and I will probably arrange this type of a meeting again for, I don't know, a couple of weeks from now, sometime in August.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right.
See you later.
Everybody, thank you. Stay healthy.
All right, you guys too.
Bye.
So fun. Janice, do you need anything else from us or from me?
I'll finish it from here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.